What's up, everybody? Phil with Bull City Pictures here today. We're going to talk a little bit about this Sigma 150 to 600 lens. It's the C version. I've got it here on my Nikon, and we're going to get into that. Excuse me, sorry. Also Q&A, so if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered, go ahead and put them in the chat, and let's talk about those things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this Sigma lens. It's my favorite wildlife lens. I've had it probably about 6 months or so. Got it on Amazon for around $1,000. It's a very hefty lens, but I found it to be unbelievably sharp and very, very accurate with its autofocus. So it's 150 millimeters to 600 millimeters, f5 to 6.3. It takes a 95 millimeter thread. It's got a very large hood. It snaps in very tight. We've got 4 buttons and knobs, basically: autofocus, the focus range, the OS version. This image stabilized 3 different settings there, and you can customize this. So this is supported by their dock. When I bought this, it actually came with a dock, so you can make changes to it if you'd like to. So if you want to take it off, put it on the dock, make changes to firmware, you can also make fine adjustments to focusing and all those good things. So I want to show you some of the pictures that I've got with this. So we can take you over to Lightroom, and I'll show you just some of the photos and some of the different things that this lens is capable of doing. So I use this primarily to do bird shooting. I did some sports shooting as well. I'll show you some of those pictures, but I just wanted to show you again a few things and how sharp it is. And you can see here the bokeh. It produces this really nice circular bokeh. And this is a nuthatch in my backyard. And you can see that this was at ISO 400 at 600 millimeters f6.3, so it's pretty much wide open. Shot at 1/320th of a second, and you can see the details. This is at 1:1. Even if you zoom in to 3:1, you can see there's a little noise that's on the camera, but at 3:1 it still looks pretty sharp. Let's again, I wanted to highlight kind of the bokeh here. We've got a few more shots that I'll show you. This is of a tufted titmouse just kind of hanging out on our cherry tree. And you can really see the detail here in the feathers, even if we go into 3:1. And this is super pixel peeping, but back out to 1:1, you can see just the fine detail. And this was taken at 1/160th, 400 millimeters f6.3. So this is a crop sensor. It's a Nikon camera, D7100. At 1/160th, to be able to get a shot like that, that's amazing. At 400 millimeters, the general rule is that you follow the reciprocal rule. So whatever your focal length is, you should be at that shutter speed or above. And with a crop sensor with Nikon, you can add 1.5 to that. So you'd probably, to follow the reciprocal rule here, you'd be at 1/500th, a little more than 1/500th of a second, to be able to get a good shot. This just shows you how good the image stabilization is on this lens. It's amazing. Got another one here of a little chickadee grabbing a snack. And again, you can see just how detailed it is. And I don't know how well that's going to show up on YouTube, but certainly you can see the fine details in the feathers here. And again, going into 3:1, you can just see the great detail. And this was another one taken at 1/60th of a second. A few more I want to show you here. There's another one of a tufted titmouse. This one was taken at 550 millimeters, 1/250th. Again, you can see the fine detail, and again, it's a slower shutter speed than most of the times you would use, but this lens is amazing with its stabilization. Here's another one at 1/250th, 550 millimeters. Little dark-eyed junco. Got finches here too in the backyard. I haven't seen the finches lately, but again, you can see the details here. This one was shot at 1/250th a second as well. Got some bluebirds hanging out. This one was in the snow. You can see, again, I think I missed focused a little bit with this one, but you can still see the fine details. Here's a blue jay, again, 1/250th of a second, 440 millimeters. You can see the great detail there. A little house finch, just chilling on the branch. Again, at 1:1, you can see the great level of detail there. Just love the camera. Again, this one's closer to what a quote-unquote correct shutter speed would be, still a little bit low, but you can see that the stabilization is working. Just a couple more. This guy got right up pretty close to me. Took this one at 440 millimeters, 1/320th of a second, and this might be the sharpest shot I've gotten from this lens yet. You just see the detail. Pretty impressive. Also, I did some sports photography a while ago with this, and it seems like it's pretty decent for sports. Baseball's a little tough, but definitely the focus was good. The clarity was good. Let's see if I can find a shot here that has an example of that. So you can see, probably should have used a faster shutter speed, but this is 1/320th. I'm at ISO 800. This was a night game, so it was really hard to get enough light. I'm at 6.3. I didn't really want to go higher on the aperture, but this is definitely a capable sport lens. They do make a sport version of it as well that is a little faster on the focus. It's also a little heavier. This comes in at 4 pounds, I believe. Let's see what we find here. Yeah, 68 ounces, so it's not light by any means, but it is quite a lens. So if you have any questions, don't be shy. We're all friends here. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. This is on the Fuji D7100, which is I think this is a great combination. I've had this D7100 body for quite a while. It served me very well. I don't know how many clicks I've got on it, but it's quite a few at this point. Haven't really had any issues with it. So looking for any questions, do a little Q&A. Any questions about the lens, any questions about anything. I did a video recently on why I'm returning the Fuji. Unfortunately, the XA5 didn't work out for me, and I had hoped it would, but it seems like maybe there's some issues with firmware, and you can watch those videos and you can see the comments. Actually, it's been getting a lot of attention from comments, but it seems like Fuji might have to make some changes to the firmware on that, and it would be a great vlog camera. I really did want it to work. I know Fuji has great stills. Also looking at it as a vlog camera, since it did have that flip-up screen and it had a microphone input, it didn't work out. I'm going to keep my eyes open, and maybe at some point they'll fix the firmware, or it could be that my particular copy was just bad. I don't think it was. There's also some issues with white balance shifting, and you can go ahead and watch that video. I've linked it in the card here. What else? I'm waiting on the Fuji X-T3. There's rumors that that's going to be released at Photokina. The XH1 Fuji was released. Seems like a compelling camera. Supposed to be kind of their pro version of the X-T2. A lot of similarities between that and the X-T2. So I don't know. I'm looking for potentially another Fuji body. I might look into that. Also, considering the D500 to replace the 7100, although really, I think the 7100 has more advantages. The D500 certainly focuses faster. It's got a newer focusing system, but I really don't have a lot of issues with the focusing on this, especially with this lens. Next week, we'll probably talk a little bit more about lenses. I'm I'm going to pick one of my other favorite Nikon lenses, and then at some point we'll probably talk about Fuji lenses as well. If you have any subject that you'd like to see me cover in these live chats, go ahead and drop a comment below, and I'll do my best to cover that subject. If it's something that it's a piece of gear that I own, certainly we can chat about that. And if you have any questions again about that, we can hopefully answer those questions. I see there are a couple people watching. Don't see any questions that are being typed in yet, so I don't know too much more to say about this lens other than, you know, it's $1,000, which is expensive. I had to save for a while to get it, but I can tell you that if you're into wildlife photography or even light sport photography, if you want to shoot your child's soccer or baseball game, it's a pretty good lens. Pair it with the D7100 or, you know, the Canon 60D, 70D, 80D. It's going to do very well for you. The autofocus, again, is snappy. You saw how sharp it was. You saw how good the image stabilization is. I can't say enough good things about this. I did used to use a non-image stabilized 200 to 500 lens from Tamron, which was a really good lens as well. It even though it didn't have image stabilization, I could usually get the shutter speeds up high enough to get good shots with those. So that used to be my birding lens and my sports photography lens, and it did a really good job. But this is so much better with the image stabilization. I'll give it another minute or so. Again, if you're watching live, don't be shy. If you have a question or a comment, go ahead and type it in there and we'll answer it. Otherwise, we'll call this another live stream, another Friday chat. We'll do this again next Friday. I'll try to do this every Friday, and hopefully the audience will grow. I might try different times to see if we get more response with different times. But for those of you watching, thanks for watching live. For those of you watching the replay, if you have any questions, put them down below about this lens, about Nikon, about anything really. Let me know and I'll do my best to help answer those questions. Let's start a conversation and create a photography community. This is Phil with Bull City Pictures. Thanks for taking the time to watch this live stream and then hopefully the replay of the live stream. We will see you again in the next video.